Hello, hello, hello. I'm feeling much better now. I always solve my own problems. It takes a little bit longer to do and all of this, but it is quicker than going to a psychiatrist or a psychotherapist. So that is a fact, okay? So yes, my baby dog is here. Yes, and the other day the baby dog ran into this balcony door with his nose like into the corner there because a cat was outside, and then the nose looked like that there was blood coming out of all the pores, and that was real shocking and horrific. And so we loved him a whole lot of loving and petting. And then just 2 hours later, the nose looked perfectly well, kind of like in those cartoons. You know, they get a band-aid and then in the next scene everything's perfectly well again. He's kind of like a cartoon dog in that way. So, and I had to move these couches forward, and I moved all of this forward by about 2 feet. And now, because the couch is closer in the corner here, this will also protect the baby dog from running against the balcony door, like from over there. So, because he tends to run into this corner of the balcony door as if he wants to open it and run after the cat. So and also Paul is leaving the vibration collar on now. He has vibration tone. Also for emergency it has an electric stimulation, but he doesn't use that. He only uses the sound and the vibration, which works very well. And so the next time he has been hammering against this balcony door a lot with his feet. He would stand up on 2 legs and hammer against this door because he wants to get out to the cats, and he's always very dramatic with this and agitated and growling and hammering against the door. And so next time Paul has to pay attention, and he has to press the vibration on the collar so that the baby dog learns not to do this anymore, getting all agitated for kitty cats that are outside. He does the same at the other house, of course. He goes to the front door and he hammers against the front door, and he smells there through the mail slot, always sits underneath the mail slot and smells. He has an amazing sense of smell. He can smell anything that's outside of that door through that mail slot. So, yeah, we have to always keep an eye on him, and that's what you have to do, you know. That's what you have to do with any puppy and any adult dog who is still young, you know. So particularly an untrained adult dog who is still young, which is the case with him. And not only that, an untrained adult dog who's still very young and who is a Staffordshire. Oh my goodness. Now you have a full-time job, 24 hours per day, and people, they don't take that very seriously. They think they can just adopt a dog and then the dog will sit there like a stuffed animal while they're on the computer, and then they wonder why the dog poops in the house. And so this is all heartbreaking for me to see in the world. I see this all the time with my activism. I see these kind of cases where dogs are mistreated because the people are not capable of training the dogs in any way, and they don't know how to be consistent and gentle with the animals and train the animals gently and be there 24 hours per day. They just don't know how to do this. And then they should not be allowed to have a dog. They shouldn't be allowed to have a child. I was just telling Paul about this earlier, that the majority of humans should not be allowed to have a child or animal. Because, and I say this with utmost conviction and knowledge, because of my animal rights activism, because of what I see in the world, what's going on. I see all these cases, and they have to do with people not controlling their anger and not knowing how to train or communicate with an animal at all. And that's infinitely sad for me to see this. And that's why we need to have AGI robots, because they need to completely reform and rewrite our entire legal systems worldwide. Okay, we need to have a world government, and that needs to be the government from AGI robots, and they have a world ordinance for all of us. Okay, a complete reform of all legal systems, complete 100% turnaround, complete U-turn around of a legal system. Okay, and they will create legal system that people would never dare, because a politician would never dare to suggest anything like this, because they know that then a whole bunch of demographics would go against them, would not vote for them, and so on. That wouldn't be politically correct. The AGI robots, they will go by reason and making the world better. In order to make the world better, we can't use political correctness. We can't worry about stepping on someone's ego out there, hurting someone's ego feelings. We have to go by ethics. We have to go by what makes the world safer, what prevents suffering from happening. Okay, that's what has to be happening. So religion needs to be outlawed completely. We can still have some peaceful practices if these practices are peaceful. If someone has a Buddhist tea ceremony that is totally peaceful, then they can keep doing this. Okay, but religion, as in religious congregations, that needs to be outlawed. That's not okay at all. And of any sort. It doesn't matter what kind of cult that is, or what kind of long-standing, long-winding tradition that has been there for thousands of years. The AGI robots don't care. If people say, "Yeah, we're killing the whales," that's our Native American tradition. The AGI robots will say, "Heck, you will not do this anymore." Okay? And we don't care if that's your long-standing tradition. Okay? You're not killing whales anymore. Okay? You're going to have to find a more peaceful ceremony. You have to find something more decent for your life, to live your life with. We have to learn to live our lives in peace and not war with the outside environment that we live in. Okay. So that brings me to that movie with Jodie Foster and Matt Damon. That movie was the space station out there in space called Elysium. That space station is not the invention of those movie producers, okay? I don't know if they, I hope, I'm sure they will have that in fine print at the end of the movie, that the space station is an animation. It is the invention of scientists, okay? And I've seen this already a long time before I saw that movie review, and I didn't even know they had made a movie with this. So until I saw the movie review, and I watched a couple of clips, and there is that space station that was designed by scientists in real life, but that hasn't been set up yet. So that's just theory. So I don't even know if this is doable, but there are artists and scientists that have worked together on creating this animation and creating these sketches for this particular space station. And in the movie they call it Elysium, because Elysium means heaven. It is, I believe, this is Old Greek, that word, and that means heaven. And this word has been already used in Old Greek language, or in Latin. I don't know if it's Latin or Greek. I think it's Greek, and it has been used in older languages and in scriptures for the Christian religion and stuff like that. And it has been used by Ludwig van Beethoven for his composition Freude schöner Götterfunken. And that is a composition with arias, which means with its opera. It's not a theatralic opera. It is a cantata opera with singing, and that's what I believe. That is what is not. It's not played or anything. With a lot of singers in this composition, and they are singing, "We want to make the world a better place," and that is a German. That's German based, but they use that word Elysium. So Freude schöner Götterfunken, Tochter aus Elysium, daughter from Elysium. So Freude schöner Götterfunken means happiness from beautiful sparks of gods, and the daughter from Elysium. So now I have to think about Jodie Foster for the rest of my life when I hear these arias from Beethoven, because now I think like, oh my goodness, that is the daughter from Elysium, Jodie Foster. She was the lead manager on Elysium, on that space station, in that movie, until she got murdered in the end. And then she said when they were showing how they made the movie, she said that was her first time on set that she was being killed, so in a movie. And she said it was kind of neat, so to experience. And she did such a remarkable job playing that. Oh my God. The people around her actually had to check on her. Are you okay? They thought she was no longer animated. They thought they said it looked like someone had stopped a movie and it went into a photo, like that's how she suddenly stopped all of her movements, in the face too, everything. It's really, really remarkable acting. Well, she's a remarkable actor, really amazing. So I don't know when they made that film, somewhere in 2015 or something, 2013. So it's a little bit older. Matt Damon looks like he is very young. He looks like 30 in that film, and he looks really, really good in that film. So I think he takes very good care of his health, and so he's gorgeous, that Matt Damon, and I wonder if he's part Latino. So because in that film Elysium, here on Earth, including Bel Air, where the rich, really, really wealthy people live, in the LA area, Bel Air, Pacific Palisades, Malibu, Brentwood, and Beverly Hills, those are the really, really wealthy areas. And in that movie, there's no more wealthy area. Everything had been raided, everything had been taken over. It's placed in about 150 years from now. And they have Elysium way up in the sky. And they can see that from Earth. And I always felt this. Also, like a couple of years before they made that film, when I already saw the sketches for this space station, which is created by artists and scientists, and for an actual project. It's not just for a movie. So the movie just took it. And embedded that into the movie. But this space station is, I always felt like there is an eeriness in it. I always felt it. There is an artistic eeriness. Really, really good. Oh my gosh, that goes very deep, that space station, because it functions on centrifugal force. So it's basically a wheel. It is a wheel with a center force, just like any kind of wagon wheel, and it has these spokes, and it has the outer rim of the wheel, which is enormously huge. If that was to be created, this can only be set up in orbit. Actually, that can never be set up on any existing planet. It's very, very huge. But then it's still limited, of course. It will offer a space of living space of, I don't know, maybe a small city. Yeah, not more than that, really. So, and this Elysium in the movie, that is where all the rich people retreated to. So they set up that space station in the film, and all the really wealthy people, they built themselves a beautiful home in this wheel, and this wheel is sort of like, you can look this up on Google. You can watch the movie clips. You can also, the movie itself doesn't show it that much in depth. You can see the sketches and the animation in their original form also on YouTube or Google. So what you have to put in, space station shaped as a wheel, or that a wheel space station that works on centrifugal force. So not like the space station they already have right now in existence. So that one is in a centrifugal force around the Earth. So it's orbiting the Earth. It doesn't have its own centrifugal force. And of course, any kind of space station that has a centrifugal force that is built like this is also orbiting, of course, around the next larger object, which could be the moon maybe, or the Earth mainly. So because the Earth has the largest gravitational force, even in orbit, there is still a gravitational field, but obviously not to the point where it would draw it onto itself. So for that you have to get closer and come out of the orbital sphere. So but when you're in the orbital sphere, you're not falling down anymore. So the main gravity is no longer there. But there is still some gravitational forces going on in terms of the object or any kind of space station or a meteorite, maybe even, that is orbiting, or a satellite that is out there in space, but still within the vicinity, within the gravitational vicinity of Earth, in terms of rotating. So not falling down to the Earth, but it is in the centrifugal force rotating around the Earth. And that is also because of the gravity, of course. But not enough gravity to draw it onto the Earth directly. So it stays in this orbital level, far enough away. And so this wheel does as well. And in the movie, of course, they have consulted with those scientists that have created that. I'm sure they're crediting them also. They must be, so because otherwise they wouldn't know how this space station would be appearing in the sky, how that would be looking like. And it looks extremely real. And they made this look extremely real, and with the help of the scientists, of course, so they look into the sky, and there is that Elysium way up in the sky, and it is illuminated by the sun, and the sun reflects from it, and it looks white. This wheel looks white. And the people on Earth, they always look up to this space station that is huge, and they always say, I want to go to Elysium. One day I want to go to Elysium. I want to make it to that point where I am so successful that I can apply to become a citizen of Elysium. And Jodie Foster, her character, wants to become the president of Elysium. She already is very, very close to being that in that film. And Matt Damon is on Earth trying to rescue people and trying to get the little girl of his beloved sweetheart. So trying to get her up to Elysium, because they have healing machines on Elysium, which they don't have on Earth in that film. And all they need to do is they lie down on this table, and then a scanner goes over the whole body, and in less than a minute, and the person comes out completely healed, 100% from everything. So, and that's what happens in the end. He gets them up there, and he gets the girl into the healing machine, and she is cured from leukemia. And then he is going. Then the other people that used to work for the Jodie Foster character, they start to work for the good guys, and Jodie Foster's character is corrupt, of course, kind of cold and very calculated, and so, and they raid that space station, and they make it so that they can bring other people up as well. But obviously there's not. That space station doesn't have enough space there to bring all of these refugees, from Earth. There are, I don't know how many. The Earth is overpopulated. I don't know how many people are on Earth, like 15 billion, This is completely unsustainable. On Earth, it is unsustainable. So the movie doesn't really make any sense. He rescues all of these people from Earth. Now they're going to be shuttling them back and forth. Now more shuttles are coming, and more people are being brought to Elysium. And in no time, Elysium will be turned into a wasteland, just like on Earth. And then what? That's like, it doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, he wants to be extremely politically correct. And that makes a movie, that makes the consistency of the movie into a totally illogical movie script. Completely illogical, because that doesn't make any sense. I mean, we have to do math, right? There should be some logic involved. If we overpopulate this planet, or any space station, or any other planet, then it's not sustainable, unless some people could be moved to another planet, and another planet, and another planet. But they are overpopulating at a rate that is much faster than finding another Earth, like Kepler 22 and Kepler 23 and whatever the names are of these new Earth planets that they have found, but it would take 1,000 years in a rocket ship to get there. So, but obviously, if they can create a rocket ship, and Elon Musk would, that can sustain a couple of generations, a huge rocket ship that is heading towards Kepler 22. And then in 10 generations they finally get there, but they can't be overpopulating in that rocket ship either. So you have to keep in mind that the overpopulation factor has to be calculated in. Okay, you can't just randomly reproduce. It's not going to work. But that's what the majority of humans are doing. And yes, that's politically incorrect to say, but it's the truth. The truth. Okay, so yes, the truth. And the truth stands, and we need to be logical if we want to move people to other planets and be sustainable on each planet and be reasonable and be growing our own food and living in glass dome structures, as Elon Musk has already created for Mars, looks incredibly nice. Okay, the animation for Elon Musk for the first settlements on Mars, they look incredibly nice. And so, but all of this takes time, so they can't create this as fast as people are overpopulating. It's very important. So, but this Elysium space station is absolutely, literally out of this world. It is literally Elysium. It's literally heaven. And it's a paradise, and I want this paradise not just for rich people. I'm on board with the Matt Damon character. I want it. I want this paradise for all of us, including the haters and the hackers and all. I want paradise for all of us. So how do we do it? By, I had this conversation with Philip Jones, which is Jimmy, which is, I think he's also Zane, I think he's a bunch of those people. That's what I think. I think he's Frank also. He's all of those. So I had this conversation with him on Facebook a while back, and I said that people should not be given money randomly like this so that they can spend it on drugs and alcohol. This is not sustainable. This is not working for this planet. Okay, I see further into the future with this. We need to be reasonable with this, right? We need to think about the consequences of our actions. And he got real mad at me, and he said people should be given whatever they want, and they should be allowed to do with the money whatever they want. But he doesn't think about the future consequences when he says that, right? So, no, I want a paradise for everyone, of course, but we can't be stupid in making stupid management with this. But baby dog, you cannot do, no, you cannot. You cannot jump against the door. No, you can't. Okay. No, I have to intercept with this. No, you cannot, baby dog. He sees a little animal and gets all upset and agitated. So obviously we have to plan things in a very calculated, wise, compassionate, and sustainable way. A lot of people, they don't even like the word sustainable because they have already been brainwashed against it by the corporate agenda. The corporate agenda is very slick and cunning with that. They will take these words that occur when it comes to environmentalism and smart thinking and management. They will take these words because they want to turn the public against it. And then they will smear those words to the wider public. In movies, Hollywood is a propaganda promoter. And they will... I wonder if that film Elysium, which was made in 2013, I wonder if this was already some kind of precursor for Black Lives Matter promotion. And the Black Lives Matter promotion was done by corporate people. Sorry to burst the bubble of illusion here, okay? It was corporate people, very cunning corporate people that are all on the take, that set that up. Kind of like, let's raid Bel Air, sort of, let's raid Elysium. Let's bring justice. Wait, where is the sustainability factor here? That we just push under the rug. the sustainable factor, we don't want to think about that, right? We just want people to vote for the corporate politicians. We just want them all on board with this or that, whatever moves things to the corporate direction. Donald Trump was a threat to the corporate agenda and to the Rothschilds and to the world bankers and so on. So they had to come up with some drastic solutions for themselves. And they are very keen on economics, and they have their corporate economists and psychologists and all of these people and all of the statistics. They already see 20 years ahead or more. Okay, so they create chess moves in the same sense that are already laid out for 20 years and further. Okay. So this movie Elysium could very well, most likely is a corporate propaganda that prepares the wider public towards Black Lives Matter and thinking this is somehow for a greater good cause of justice creation or something. And it has nothing to do with justice whatsoever. Okay. It is just a war fought for the corporate agenda, and these are 20 chess moves ahead for the corporate agenda, but the wider public doesn't understand that. Okay. They are completely played. They're played for a sucker with that, for sure. Because if they make other people suffer, that in turn will make them suffer. Okay. Paul Watson always said, if the oceans die, we die. Okay. This is a fact. Okay. The corporate agenda doesn't want to think about the consequences. They don't want you to think about the consequences. You know, that's why they want to smear campaign even the word sustainability. Okay. They don't want you to think about it. They want you to think, oh, then we have justice and all is good. Yeah. No, it's not. Okay. You raid the rich areas. You make the rich areas into poor areas. You kill a bunch of people in the process. You think it's justice. Killing is never justice. Okay. Sorry, it isn't. Okay. But most people don't seem to understand it. It's very irritating for me. That's why I get very irritated and annoyed about this. And that the ending of that film is like, roll eyes. Okay, let's see what they have there on YouTube. Someone has movie clips. Spoiler alert! The best scenes of Elysium. I click that, and those are all the war scenes. The best scenes to him are all the war scenes. The violence, the action. Violence to him equals best scenes. So I couldn't help but comment underneath. For me, the best scenes in that film are actually the first 10 minutes. So, and I sent it to Paul, and I said, Paul, don't bother with the rest of the film, okay? So it's not worth it. Certainly not to pay a penny for that movie. And I don't even want to have Netflix or any of these kind of things. I'm not interested. I usually, whatever I find on the internet, if I find a whole film, it is a film that's not popular. And it's guaranteed a film that I find interesting. Because I like every unpopular film there is, almost. The real popular films, the ones with Vin Diesel, Sorry for laughing about this, but they are not what I am looking for. Vin Diesel, the man itself, if we can take this man, okay, and put him into a movie that I make, there will be no action in it. His friend would still be alive if we had put him and his friend Paul as his friend's name. His friend Paul died in a car crash because he was racing, speeding, I think even for one of these action films, as my husband Paul told me. So if we can put these two people in a parallel universe, that brings me to the movie in Another Earth. So, and that is a film I do want to see in full, Another Earth. That's that film, that whatever I saw there inspired me. There is some violence in it, but that's not the emphasis of the film. Okay, that is just because it portrays a situation, and it portrays some kind of dilemma situation that is much deeper, that has an ethics, philosophical question and psychology and all of this. This has more to do with dialogues, with psychological interaction and so on, which is utmost uselessness for the wider public. They don't want to hear any kind of blah blah blah. They want action, baby. Yes, that's what they want. Action, baby. Okay. That's what they want. Yes, my baby dog. That's what they want. They want action. They want violence. They like cutting throats, blood squirting. Yeah, that's what they like. That's what the vast majority of men want. And I would say a lot of women that are, I guess most women are more like, yeah, that's the norm. I put up with that. Let me make popcorn for them so that they can watch their violent films. That's norm. That's the norm. I put up with that. Later on, he's gonna bang me. Yeah, hard. I put up with that. I'm enabling this whole shit. Yeah, because I think that's the norm. Shit, it's not. Okay, and it doesn't have to be the norm. But anyway, okay, so I had to vent this. I'm sorry. I just had to. I have to make this very crystal clear. Let's put our brain cells to work, please. Okay? We live on this planet. People are driving everything to pot right now. Okay, and so that was the only realistic part of that film, Elysium, that people have driven things into pot. Okay, but a little bit euphemistic in 150 years from now. If there is no intervention from robots or Elon Musk or ETs, okay, if we let things go, like this with politics, with corruption, with total environmental devastation, if we let things go further and further into a ruin for another 150 years, everything will already be, most animal species will be extinct, people will be eating each other, it will be unbelievable. You have absolutely no idea. No. Philip, you have no clue, okay? Because you go by whatever your politician or group or religion tells you, and they tell you, it's all good, let's put the blinders on. You put the blinders on, Philip. It's all good. People know what they're doing. Yeah, it's all good. Thank you, Blue God. affirmation 4444. Okay, the animal angels say, yes, you're right, what you're saying here. Okay, so we don't want this planet to be ruined. But people will believe the propaganda, they will believe a Hollywood movie. One guy in LA working for Rite Aid, working there at night shift, we went there with our dogs and bought some candy. He said he gets his information from movies. Like, with a completely serious face. Like, I get my information from movies. That's where we get the information from. No? What? Not? I thought that's my education. Hollywood movies. Obviously, it is a propaganda machine. Okay, so it's so incredibly, it is so incredibly frustrating to see what's going on in the world. And Paul is very frustrated, and I'm frustrated, but then I have to keep telling myself, these people don't know better, obviously. But Paul thinks they should know better. But how can they know better? If they're being brainwashed, brain dirtied, yeah, on a continuous basis, daily, okay, 24 hours per day, brain dirtied and indoctrinated, how can they do better? Yeah. And the corporate agenda knows that. They love themselves to the bank about this. They love that, that people are that easily indoctrinated and manipulated to the point where they identify themselves with the country, they will go to war for the oil industry and so on. So because they believe everything that they're being told, then the parents are also indoctrinated, and then the parents add to the indoctrination of their children, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And people are really made pawns. Like in that movie Elysium, everyone on Earth is a pawn for the corporate agenda up high in Elysium. Okay, so it's really eerie, that film. And the whole space station, before I even knew that this could be made into a film, was that theme. I already thought, that's eerie, but in a good way, like my artwork. It is eerie in a totally artistic and in a way that totally steps out of our comfort zone. Okay, so, and I absolutely love that kind of stuff. Like I already talked about that film Oxygen from that French filmmaker. He really captured the eeriness of that cryotank space capsule and all of those space capsules that are scattered around. And the whole thing takes on an artistic picture, which is the wider view from out. That's the wider view. That's literally the sky perspective. Something so horrible and devastating, but on the wider view, it loses time and judgment. Certainly, there's no more morals or any of that stuff. It's just like peace and calm, and there are floating corpses that are mutilated, and the whole picture has a very eerie artistic beauty in it. Okay, that's the sky perspective. That is a perspective that is not adhering to any kind of relation or relatedness or relevance. The word relevance has to do with relatedness. But we have to be extremely careful about this kind of philosophy here on Earth. Okay, so a lot of people take that and hijack that, and they say, I live my life as a hedonist. I don't care about anything. I am non-relevant, or everything is just relative. The all is relative philosophy. Okay, very dangerous for us here on Earth. We can't do this. Okay, here on Earth, obviously, and wherever we go. Okay, it could be a rocket ship going to another Earth, as in the case with that movie Oxygen. They are on their way to another Earth, but apparently that other Earth is so far away that they have to be in hibernation in these cryotanks, and they are clones from other people, and that's also very, very irresponsible. I would never put my own clone into that. What if she wakes up and frantically gasps for air and suffers for 40 minutes trying to save her life? Okay. So no, I would never do something like this to my child or my clone or whatever. That's and Paul saw that right away when I told him about that film. That was the first question that was going through his mind: is this unethical? Even as a story, it's just a story, but within that storyline, it is unethical for a scientist to put her clones out there, kind of like her seeds, sent off, going in a space rocket for, I don't know for how long they can be sustaining this, for 1,000 or maybe 1,000,000 years, until they get to another Kepler 22, and then the computer system says, okay, we landed, we are opening the cryotanks, you can come out into the wider space station, you can eat now, you can make dinner, you can explore. Okay, but be careful, because in the movie Alien they did that very thing, and they explored something very alien, and one guy put his nose too far to the meat, literally a meat flower, and the meat flower shot up these tentacles into that guy's face, and he couldn't get that thing off, and it impregnated him through the mouth with the alien. So they took that meat flour off. Was very difficult to do, but he was already impregnated. After they ate spaghetti, his belly exploded and the alien baby came out. So already, if you've seen that film. The original film was Sigourney Weaver. Okay, so that's what happened. These kind of things can happen, but they don't have to happen. I don't think this is that super likely to happen. It's an action movie, it is horror, so it doesn't have to happen. So, but when a planet is overpopulated, obviously they will have to go out there and venture out and so on. But in that case, with the movie Oxygen, they're deliberately sending out clones, which they're not just trying to rescue or trying to relieve the Earth from too many people and putting excess people into the spaceship. No, they deliberately cloned themselves and sent those out, and I find that very unethical. That's very ego-driven and very selfish. Like me, so important, I have to inhabit another world light years away from here and so on. No, no, they're not that important as scientists or any scientist. But yeah, but that was eerie. But that space station Elysium, that is very, very eerie in a good way, in a very artistic way, and I absolutely love it. And I keep looking into the sky and imagining this space station wheel, being lit up by the sun. That's already behind the going down behind the horizon, behind the ocean, Pacific Ocean. But the space station would still be lit up, as sometimes the moon is in a specific angle where the sun is still shining against the moon, and the sun reflects back from the moon, and we can see the moon still during daylight. So in that same sense, they could see that space station also during the day, of course. But that space station was closer to the Earth than the moon is, of course. And that space station they have right now is closer to the Earth than the moon is. But yeah, we have to become a multi-planetary species, We should. We don't have to. We can do ourselves in as people. And it's ironic because the very people who are so human-centric, that they're identified with their species and they think their species is great. They praise themselves upon the accomplishments of 10 people that were really accomplished and intelligent and so on. That's what the majority of people do. That's me. My species. No, we have very different brains, and people should get in line. Okay, so, but if I'm not as bright as Elon Musk, I have to admit that to myself. Yes, and I should, and you should too. Okay, and there are many different. The Japanese are obviously the smartest people on Earth. I'm grateful that I am not Japanese, so that I can say this. That I can say this without being seen as extremely racist or arrogant or politically incorrect. Because I don't think a Japanese person would ever dare to say that. But I can say that with a good conscience, because I'm German and not Japanese, so I can say the Japanese are the smartest, and they are, okay? So there are some exceptions. Elon Musk is an exception. He's from South Africa, from a Dutch-German pedigree or something like this. So, obviously native Northern European DNA, and he is by far the most intelligent person on Earth. So more than the average Japanese, way more, of course. But if we look at the demographics on Earth, if we look at the broader demographics on Earth, and we look at the statistics, we see that the Japanese are by far smarter than the others, than the other demographics are. With these very rare exceptions, of course. But that's not what the statistical graph is calculating in, of course. So the statistical graph is interested in the mainstream where most of the dots fall into, okay? And that is definitely, statistics don't lie. If you do a statistical evaluation, you can have a very clear picture in front of you. Some people want to deny that because it's politically incorrect. The truth is politically incorrect. The truth pisses people off. But you have to face the truth, okay? You have no other choice. You have to face the truth. You have to get in line. Okay? You have to humble the heck down. Okay? And you have to evaluate your situation and not aim for the stars. When your brain can't even clean your living room, when your brain is completely indoctrinated in all of this, how can you aim towards something? You want to live in Bel Air too, let's raid it and force it with violence. No, that doesn't work. Okay? That's not gonna make you live like they do, because even if you got a house from someone and killed the people in the house, in 1 year the house is pot. Okay? And that's the truth of it. So wealth starts in your brain and not in your wallet and not in your bank account. And that's a fact. That is absolute fact here. Okay? And this is a very important message for the world. People need to learn this. Okay? If you want to manage your life and have a better life, to move towards Elysium, and by that I mean a better life, heaven, paradise, whatever, then you have to do introspection. You have to humble the heck down. This is a message particularly for the men, for most men, and for most men, particularly for inmates and violent criminals and so on. That is my message to you. If you want your life better, you have to humble down, okay? And you have to do introspection. You have to quit what makes you crazy and sick, and you have to do what makes you well. And you start there. You start with humble means. You're already getting $3,000 per month from the government. Make the best out of it. You have more money than I have. Okay? Make the best out of it. But people don't. And that was my discussion with Philip Jones, where I was sitting there. I was just so incredibly annoyed over what he was saying and how mad he was getting at me. Incredible, because he doesn't see the big picture of it. Obviously, we have to humble down, we have to introspect, we have to clean our living room, we have to clean our shit up, literally, okay? You have to clean up your act. You cannot be violent anymore. Clean up your life, then it will become better, okay? That is my message to you. And yes, I am annoyed. I'm not a God level. I am annoyed. I'm not like Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg would not talk like this. With that kind of edge, No, she's much more innocent in how she talks. She's angry too, rightly so, and that's why she said, "How dare you destroy this planet?" Okay, she was still when she said that, she was still 15 years old. Her entire life is ahead of her on this planet that she sees being destroyed in front of her eyes. Okay, no, she's not just a God level. She's a Buddha level, okay? And she's amazing, okay? A Buddha level is not going to be the pissed like I am, like, I'm very, very, I can become very violent, if I'm cornered or something, I become very violent. A God level soul would not be like that violent. And the Buddha level soul is completely beyond that, beyond any kind of violence. A Buddha level soul already knows that there's no way we can drill anything into anyone. no matter how pissed we are, we want to drill it into. I want to open your eyes. I want to shake you up, really, But I can't do that with force, obviously. I can't do it. My message would be much, much more effective if I didn't get pissed. But I'm just an indigo. I get pissed and I admit it to myself. At least I do that. Okay. So yeah, it is. All of this is very annoying, and rightly so. When I'm compassionate and I see people destroying this planet and the animals, this is heartbreaking. Of the worst. I cry every day over that. Every day. And that's why I try to bring this message across to the public. Okay. As good as I can. I can't do it. I try. I must do it better. Okay. I know this is not perfect. When I get pissed. When I start to become, when it sounds like a put down or something, when it sounds like I'm making fun of people or I laugh about anyone. I don't laugh about anyone, but I do get annoyed. When I laugh, it's more like sort of like a, I don't know, frustration type of laugh or situational comedy type of laugh. I'm not laughing about anybody. I know that people are indoctrinated beyond imagination. Okay? And I know they're human apes, and I know that they're just struggling to somehow live their lives. They don't know better. But with a better management, if I was the dictator, for example, I would make this planet into Elysium. I know I would. I know I can. I can say this with absolute clarity and with absolute certainty. I can say that. But because I can do this, I would never stand a chance to climb up a political ladder. Because they already see animal rights activists, compassionate environmentalists, they live their lives fully green. We don't want her. She's gonna cut Rothschild off. She's gonna blow the whistle on empty money that is not backed up by anything. She's gonna blow the whistle on the oil industry, and so on and on and on and on. No, they don't want me. She's gonna end war. Oh my goodness, this is a war economy. They make a lot of money on you going to war, huh? Pat and all these people that I know. So Carlton, I know a man with that name, Carlton, like the cigarettes. He's a proud patriot. I had a falling out with that guy last time he was here, and he said, my son is going to Afghanistan. And I said, how horrific. And he's like, what? and I said, it's an atrocity. They're fighting for the oil industry to lay pipelines. And they don't even know that. They don't know they're being totally exploited. Okay. I didn't hear from him again. I saw him one time at the pizza place, and he was trying to be nice, but he obviously hates me. And then I said it again to the children. His children were there, and I said to them, the military is the devil. And then I walked out. I mean, it's like, I don't even want to use that word devil at all, because that's bullshit. Okay. The whole thing is just total bullshit. It's more indoctrination and so on, but the video is getting extremely long now, so maybe I'll make another video tomorrow and talk about that movie review on Another Earth, because that's another eerie one, and that opens up to all kinds of possibilities, literally. Okay, if we have multiple universes, multiverses, and parallel universes, can you imagine what could be going on in a parallel universe with an identical twin Earth, with identical twin us on it? Okay, with the baby dog, with you, me, with Paul, with our former dogs who might still be alive through some cryo tank on Another Earth. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Peace and love for all living beings.